Welcome to Monster Masquerade. I'm Faye.
And I'm Mint.
So I'm gonna try something, and if we don't like it, I'll never do it again.
Oh.
But I've got like a little teaser for what this episode is about. Today we're going to be talking about a movie that came out in the 90s to mixed reviews, both critically and publicly, but has since gathered a bit of a cult following. It follows the story of a coven of witches up to no good and a persnickety group of kids and teens who try to stop them. Today we are going to be talking about The Witches by Roald Dahl.
I see what you've done there.
Wait, no, I have it. No, hold on. Today we're going to be talking, it's a Disney movie. That was my first mistake. Today we're talking about Halloween Town.
Oh, yeah, let's go. No.
Or Mary-Kate and Ashley. Hey, there were a lot of witch movies in the 90s.
Apparently.
What is with this?
We need to get back on it. More witch movies. 2020.
I'm for it. Now today we are talking about, of course, Hocus Pocus.
Woohoo!
Which is super exciting and fun.
Can we just take a second to talk about the word persnickety?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that use of that word. That's all I had to say about it. I was just grinning. I was like, yes, good.
Good, fantastic. $5 word.
Yes.
It's because it's got kitty in it, and so your ears were just like, what?
Cats?
Cat? Where? Cat is in the movie.
True.
So yes, of course, we are talking about Hocus Pocus, the 1993 classic, directed by Kenny Ortega. The name sounded familiar, so I did.
Wait, really?
Mm-hmm.
That one guy?
So I went and looked it up. He has done a bunch of like musical work, which is not surprising after this like most recent watch, because there are quite a few like musical numbers and choreography and things like that. You may know him more from High School Musical. He directed High School Musical and I think a filmed version of the Newsies.
He's an excellent choreographer. I'm looking now at his Wikipedia page. He choreographed Xanadu, and I just got that song out of my head. So.
Yeah.
Here we go again.
I thought it was kind of neat.
Yeah.
I guess we can just hop into the plot of it, if you're good with that.
Yeah, I'm down.
As I mentioned earlier, kind of jokingly, but like for real though, it is about a group of kids who try to stop a, I guess, coven of witches on Halloween night from stealing the souls of children so that they can stay young and beautiful forever. It's a tale as old as time. So there are 3 kids, a talking cat, and 3 witch sisters. The movie takes place in Salem, where, of course, all of the witches are from. I try not to approach things with, like, too much nostalgia, just, like, in general, and especially, like, as someone with a film and video background, like, that gets quickly hammered out of you unless it's, like, something pretentious.
See, I have no film background, so I have the full nostalgia filter. I'll just go ahead and say it. This movie can do no wrong for me. I know it's got parts that aren't great, and it's kind of like, and we'll get into it, but I really like this movie. It came out 2 months before I was born, so I just like have pretty much always been watching this movie every Halloween season.
Yeah, it's one of those that like, I've definitely seen it all the way through before, but like, after that, it was something that, you know, you would catch on TV for like 30 minutes at a time or whatever.
Oh, and literally before we decided we were gonna like talk about this movie, it was already playing like a weekly thing in my house. Like someone's watching it on the TV in the living room like at least once a week. So
like if nothing else, this movie is very fun and like pretty breezy and quick for the most part.
Yeah, it never feels like it drags too much.
Because apparently there were a ton of like production issues from like an executive standpoint. this movie was supposed to be like about the three Sanderson sisters. Like they filmed it completely differently, and then when they showed the product, they were like, hey, can you make it more for kids?
I honestly wish it was more about the Sanderson sisters. And now, like, Disney has sunk its claws even more into it, right? And it's like all the merch is about them.
You kind of have to, like,
Yeah.
because all three of them, Winifred, Mary, and Sarah. No, not Sarah. Is it Sarah?
Yeah, Sarah Jessica Parker plays Sarah.
Okay. Okay.
Easy to remember.
We got another Thomas Tom situation. Oh no.
Thomas Tom. Oh no.
Like you can just tell they're having so much fun filming like all of their scenes.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of captivating, and so like the witches of Hocus Pocus definitely steal the show. Although they try to make the kids like seem important and special.
Yeah, I did always like Danny. Like as a kid, I liked her.
She's my favorite of the like kid stars in this.
Yeah, she did a really good job.
Her performance is like super believable, which is commendable because she had to have been like in the movie she's 8, and I feel like around then they cast things like pretty true to life. So
yeah,
she might not have been like much older than that.
She's just so sassy. I always wanted to be that sassy.
I know, she's so sassy, and she's like a little comrade in arms. It's the best.
Yeah, she's great. She's great.
Like I mentioned, this film takes place in Salem, Massachusetts. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. On Halloween night, so we start off in school, and they're telling the story of the Sanderson sisters, who are these 3 famous witches who were hung after they had sacrificed a young girl and presumably her brother, Thackeray Binks, to remain youthful.
First of all, who names their child Thackeray? Is that is that a name from ye olden times? I'm gonna Google this while you talk. I'm gonna put push to talk on real quick and Google this while you talk. 1 second.
So the film starts with, I'll say 1.5 kids dying, essentially. So kind of dark to start off with, which maybe gives you an idea of the tone that they were originally going for. And it's a lot of fun, but like, I want the rest of the movie to be like that. Right off the bat as well, I'm going to say that like, because this is also very apparent, like pretty soon, the practical effects and makeup effects in this movie still hold up really well. They look super good. The CG, sky and fire and CG cat, not so much, but like, I won't hold it too much against them.
But I have the cat facts.
Okay.
I can give the cat facts here. The cat, they used a couple of cats for movement reference, but it was mostly an animatronic. And if there's one thing we can talk about on this podcast over and over again, it's how much I love puppets and animatronics. So I love it. I love it. I love it. It looks so much better than CG, in my opinion. There's really good CG out there. And obviously now you have like the mixed media of CG and animatronics, but I just love animatronics and puppets. I think they're so cool.
Right, and to be fair, like I don't think this movie had like a ton of budget, and if they did, it obviously went towards like the lead witches, because all 3 of them are like huge. You've got Bette Midler, Kathy Najimy, and Sarah Jessica Parker, who I can't imagine in the 90s were super cheap.
No.
For the most part, this movie does look very good. So we've got 1.5 kids dead, except not really, because the half a kid turns into a cat. Also, the guy who plays human Thackeray Binks is in NCIS.
Oh,
but that's not his voice. They dub over him with Jason Marsden from a Goofy Movie and The Weekenders and all this other stuff. And so it always cracks me up whenever he opens his mouth. They did the lip sync very well, but like I'm just like, could you imagine spending all of that time like acting your little heart out, and then they're like, yeah, we're gonna do a different voice.
They did that to Zac Efron in High School Musical. The first 2, I think, is not his singing voice. They had no faith in his singing voice. He had to take vocal lessons, and then he has some hairspray and stuff, and he did fine. So, but he had to take vocal lessons.
We should also just say, like, because this movie is so popular and so well known, we're going to be hopping like all over the place. So if you haven't seen it yet, it might not make a ton of sense, but I think it'll be fine.
I think we're continuing the more like casual, very comfy Halloween vibes that we did with like Dead by Daylight.
Mm-hmm. So after we cut from that, story, we're in a high school in Salem, which this town, they go absolutely all out for Halloween. Like, everybody loves Halloween so much, except for Max, who just moved in with his family from LA. He's in the classroom and he's just like, I don't believe that story. Like, the whole class, like, none of them want to put up with it. They're just like, shut up, Max. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Shut
so
up, Max.
it's so good. I kind of hate Max, honestly.
He's annoying, yeah.
He's annoying and like he's not he has a couple of like nice brother moments, but for the most part he's just like whiny and
He's like, I don't want to have to take care of my little sister on Halloween.
Like, why does he hate Halloween so much? We never get like an explanation aside from
Just
like
a grumpy teen.
yeah, aside from like they've just moved and he's like, I hate it here. I want to go back.
I'm not cool here.
Which like ugh.
Yeah.
It's funny. Danny has this line where she's like, Max, can you cut the cool teenager act for one night and hang out with me? And I'm just like, Danny, no, your brother's not cool. I can promise.
Yeah, I think she calls it an act.
He gets beat up and robbed by
Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah, right. Essentially, they remind me of like the bully character type from like Power Rangers.
Yeah,
and they're not. I don't think they're believable at all as bullies.
No.
It's just funny. What are their names? I know one of them is Ice.
It's like Ice. Yeah, and then the other guy. I don't know the other guy's name.
I don't know. Blonde boy.
Hold on.
I think it starts with a J.
Oh, it's just Jay.
Oh, it is Jay.
It's just Jay. So they really are like just rip off Jay and Silent Bob. That's what they felt like, but like bully versions.
But Jay has this like super long blonde hair and looks like he should be from LA. And so like to hear him be like, "Oh, Hollywood, how's it going?" is a little like
what
it's
are
a
these
little
guys
much for me.
doing in Massachusetts? Like,
I don't know.
Like, then where are you going surfing, dude?
Let's have a butt.
No thanks, I don't smoke.
They're very health conscious in Los Angeles.
Was that a thing? I guess like maybe bullying was a little more rampant in the 90s, but like to bully someone for being from Los Angeles, it seems a little weird.
I mean, I feel like people would still do that. Especially here in Texas, like, people are mean to people from California.
All I can pick up from Massachusetts is they love their old buildings, their crypts, and they love Halloween so much.
Do they?
Well, from this movie.
Salem's there, so I'm sure there's a lot of, like, Halloween tourism.
Right. I don't know, because I have always heard, like, oh, don't go to Salem during October, because you get, one, it's crowded because of all the people who are like, ooh, witches.
Yeah.
But two, just like, I don't know if it's one of those things that like my grandma was like, oh, them witches are there, you can't, it's dangerous. I don't know.
I don't think it'd be dangerous.
I don't know why my West Texan grandmother is from New York, but apparently she is. So Max is essentially guilt tripped / told that he has to take his little sister Danny trick-or-treating. And so he shows up just wearing his day clothes, essentially, and she's dressed up like a little witch, and his parents are... I like the parents in this movie.
Yeah, they're chill.
They're chill. They seem to love the holiday, and also just, like, they mean well. Like, you could say a lot of the adults in this movie aren't, like, the best, but at least, like, there's a part where, like, they find their parents later, and Max is like, you gotta listen to me, something's up, and the dad like snaps out of it immediately. He's like, is Danny okay? So it's just kind of nice to see, like, oh, okay, they're not completely useless. Like,
yeah, they care a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
They could have gotten a normal babysitter, but
right. I mean, or just gone with their kids on their first Halloween instead of partying it up. But
they really wanted to party.
Fair. If I could go to a giant town hall like Halloween party, I think I would.
Yeah.
With like a live band and everything. That'd be so fun.
It does seem fun. Not right now, it doesn't, but...
No, not right now. Max has a little crush on someone from his class who shuts him down pretty early on, named Allison. I like Allison. To be fair, I probably would have had a crush on her in high school.
She looks older than high school age.
Probably.
Like that. She's one of the characters that I'm like, there's no way. There is a way. I mean, maybe she just looks older, but I was like,
And so they're trick-or-treating, and Max is being a butt, and Danny gets upset. They stop at one more house after Max apologizes, and of course it's Allison's house, and it's this big, like, palatial governor's mansion or something.
Like fancy rich people town.
It's real fancy, and Danny is like, ugh, rich people.
I love her.
She's so good. That scene where she meets Allison is also, like, super funny too. Where she's talking about Allison's costume because she's dressed up in, like,
big fancy ball gowns. Like,
yeah.
By the way, Danny, I love your costume.
Thank you. I really like yours too. Of course, I couldn't wear anything like that because I don't have any, what do you call them, Max? Yabos?
Oh yeah, the yabos. It's so,
Yabos.
He's like so embarrassed. He's just no.
I'm living for it. Anytime Max gets dunked on in this movie, I'm just like, hell yeah.
It's great. And it's like always his sister or the witches. They're always dunking on it.
Literally
it's so
everyone.
Good. It's so good. And I looked it up. She was actually like 16 or 17 during this. So.
Oh, okay.
She just looked older, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think, like, when you're talking about casting in movies, there was, like, it's kind of like a bell curve, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah.
Where 70s, you would have, like, 30-something-year-olds playing teenagers, and it was not believable at all. In the 80s, you got kind of a mix between it. Sometimes, like, depending on if it was a slasher movie, it could either be, like, people who were 17 or 18 or... There was a bit more variety. In the 90s, I feel like we're pretty true to life when it came to casting. And then by 2000s, it was like, oh, yeah, we're going to go with like 24, 25-year-olds for high schoolers.
It's so weird. Stop doing that. It looks weird. It's very obvious.
I don't want to watch them kiss. It's weird.
Weird. It'd be like sticking like either of us into like a movie and be like, they're high schoolers. Like, gonna believe that,
right? Which is why, like,
I look so tired. There's no way.
I have seen the world. I've lived through 2 recessions.
Exactly.
That's funny. I'm cracking myself up. So Allison, who's very cool, she's like, "Oh, I like your costume, Danny," and she's like, "Thanks. I'm dressed up as a witch. We heard about the Sanderson Sisters today in class," because I guess they just teach that same lesson throughout every single grade on Halloween.
You got to. It's the history.
You got to. And so Allison is like, "My mom used to work at that museum. I know a lot about it and the story. It's closed right now." And then Max is like, "Well, let's go check it out. Let's go. I'm a bad boy. I can break into a museum.
My hair is parted down the middle." Kind of. He's got that haircut, right?
Yeah, he does. I could have been Leonardo DiCaprio, but he turned the role down.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which, like, I don't know if it would have been better with Leo or not.
No, I think that the actor that plays Max does a great job making him annoying.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, Leo probably would have too, but nah.
Yeah. Leo turned down the role to do What's Eating Gilbert Grape and just jumpstart his entire career.
That worked out for him, huh?
So they break into the museum, and there's this candle. It's the black flame candle. It's made from the fat of a hanged man, I think. And so the thing about the candle is that it needs to be, like, lit by a virgin, which, like, honestly, this is it's different.
It's weird.
I'll say that it's different that they made Max be the virgin, which is, like, kind of a recurring joke, because usually, like, typically when you're talking about, especially in horror, when it is a virgin, it's just like a girl. So technically, I think, like, any of the 3 of them could have lit the candle and jump started the events of the movie.
Yeah, because it was kind of weird. They just, like, that's the one thing, like, they're picking on Max for that I don't agree with, because I'm like, aren't you all, like, technically children? Like, yeah, you're teenagers, but, like, it's not uncommon for them to be a virgin. So they're like, and he's like, leave me alone, guys. And it's like,
even the adults
so
are
weird.
like, "You're a virgin?"
Yeah.
He's like, "I'll get it tattooed on my face." Like,
yeah, he's like 16, and these, like, adults are like, "Oh, what a nerd." It's like, what?
There's a similar issue in Monster Squad. I don't know if you've ever seen that one.
Oh, I think I have like once, but not. I don't think I was paying attention at all.
But that
It was
one,
just, like, in the background.
yeah, that one has like a crew of like 12-year-old boys, and a virgin plays a role in that movie. And so it was like any one of them could be a sacrifice because they're 12. It's a weird thing.
It's a weird thing.
But yeah, so Max, being all cool and rebellious like he do, decides to light the candle. He is almost stopped by Thackeray Binks, who has been cursed to be a cat and to not be able to die. And so has just been hanging out for 300 years. But he manages to light the candle, and so the sisters come back. At sunrise, they will turn to dust and disappear. So they just have the one night to steal the souls of as many children as possible so that they can continue living. Which, like, honestly, I kind of wish they would succeed, just because I want to see how they deal with the modern world past Halloween.
So funny. They would be like, "Wait, never mind. Can we dust?"
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. That's the first act, pretty much, and like that first act breezes through it so fast. Like that first 30 minutes is so quick. Yeah. I'm always like surprised. I pause it. I'm like, oh, we're already here. I'm like, the rest of this movie will go by quick.
No, there's like they cram so much in the second act.
They do, and I think part of that maybe came from like reshooting or restructuring the movie afterwards.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of just like a bunch of skits, essentially, kind of chopped together. Which, like, some of them are very fun, but then some of them it's just like, what are we doing here?
It's fun though. It's like fun. It never feels like bad. Like watching it, like if you don't watch it from like a critical standpoint, it's like wee Halloween fun.
Right. I never dread it or anything like that.
Yeah.
The three actors are having so much fun. I think the direction for Sarah Jessica Parker after like every scene was probably just like, can you try more bubbly?
Oh, also, I'd like to correct myself from earlier. I thought you said James Marsden, but it's Jason Marsden. I see.
Jason. Yes.
Are they related?
Did I miss that?
No, I think you said Jason. I think I just misheard.
Okay. They have very similar names. Are they related?
I don't know. Now I want to know.
That's a good brief tangent. Pause the episode.
Yeah, pause. Hold on. I need to find this out.
I'm on pins and needles here.
They're not related, but they're good friends.
Huh. All right.
And their
cool.
wives have been friends since they were 6. All right.
What?
I don't know. It's so strange.
How can you be? Okay.
I don't know.
Huh. All right.
Well,
Marsden isn't that common of a name.
no, it's not. But, you know, life brings you together, I guess.
And then they fell in love.
Oh.
Oh. I did have one question. After they bring the witches back, Danny tries to pretend to have summoned them on purpose to be to join their coven. Essentially, she's like, "Sisters, I've waited so long for you. How old do you got to be to apply to be a witch?"
I don't know.
Can I apply to be a witch?
Probably.
Nice.
I mean, I wish the movie would have just been them being like, "Oh, do you want us to train you?" And then Danny being a witch. That'd be a totally different movie, though.
It'd be so
fun.
good.
Wouldn't have to listen to Max anymore.
But instead, they're like, we gotta munch, we gotta crunch, we gotta make that child soul our lunch. And so that plan does not work. So they run into a graveyard, and they're like, a talking cat, and they're friends now. This is another kind of weird thing. Apparently the witches can't tread on sacred ground, so like while they're in the graveyard they should be fine, but like they can still float over it and grab people who are on the ground, so it seems a little weird. It's very like
they just can't touch it.
I guess it's very like Davy Jones standing in a bucket in Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah. It's like he didn't break the rules. Oh, and in the zombie we meet Billy, the ex-love of Winifred. Not really. I don't know how you
seem to like her very much. So
no.
And that's Billy is played by Doug Jones.
Yeah.
Who is everyone.
That too. Big favorite monster. But we should have a counter to see how many times Doug Jones appears on this podcast.
How many times ago? And that was Doug Jones.
Pretty much. I do have a fun fact about Billy the Zombie.
Oh.
You might hate it. So I did a little bit of research. I don't have like a ton of notes or anything, but I did read one thing because they had talked to Kenny Ortega about the movie and about Billy, and he said, a lot of people will come up to me and say that Billy was my first crush, like my first movie crush, my first celebrity crush, what have you. And his response to that was, oh, well, that's not too surprising. Billy is supposed to be an attractive zombie.
What? I mean, I can see it. I don't hate that fun fact. It's like Tina Belcher from Bob's Burgers. She loves zombies. It's like perfect.
You just watched me lay out a bear trap and then like carefully sidestepped around.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be way worse. Let me look up a picture of Billy again. Billy Hocus Pocus. Let's get a close up on him because I'm blind. I have trouble seeing. He looks like he is in a punk band from the UK.
You can say it. I will not judge you.
He's not like attractive, but he's not the ugliest zombie.
Okay.
Like if he was like, oh, I'm the lead singer of this goth noise band, I'd be like, oh, yeah, I see it. Okay. Yeah. He's not like ugly.
Also with Doug Jones, you get like very fun stories about how he is just a delight on set.
Yeah.
Apparently, when he's talking to Winifred.
Kill him! Do it now!
Wench! Trollop! You buck-toothed, mop-rind firefly from hell!
But he was like, there are children. Can I not, please? Like, I don't want to.
No.
Their little ears. I can't. But Billy is a zombie, and so you get a lot of like slapstick. Oh, his head's falling off, and he's clumsy, and his fingers are getting chopped off throughout the movie.
Now I can say like an attractive zombie asterisk.
You should just assume that if we're talking about Billy and I say the word zombie, that the word attractive is there, like in parentheses.
Yeah. We're running with this. I like this fun fact.
So the witch sisters task him with like chasing the kids and finding the spell book, which I have not mentioned up until now. But they have a spell book that has like their youth spell and all their curses and stuff. It's very like Necronomica from The Evil Dead and stuff. Like
got an eyeball.
Yeah.
Moves around. She goes, "Boo."
A book bound in human flesh and is just kind of gross and unpleasant to hold.
Yeah, it's a cutie.
Billy, not attractive. Book.
Very, yes. Book is
that
boyfriend now.
It's got that eye, that dreamy eye.
Just the eye.
The book special effects do look very good. I do like the book whenever it is on screen. So yeah, this middle act, they are essentially like, it intercuts between like kids trying to get help from the adults and the witches like interacting with things in the modern world, to some confusion and some like very funny scenarios.
Yeah.
Pretty much none of the adults in Salem are helpful. They approach someone who they think is a police officer who is not. I forgot about the fake police officer scene.
Yeah.
And so I was about to get like real salty because they start telling him like, oh, we accidentally freed these witches. And he very quickly, he is like, I risk my life to protect this town and like all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, but then like, he's like, get out of here and take your cat with you. And then his girlfriend comes out of the bar and he's like, oh, those kids thought I was a real cop. And so I was like, oh, okay.
Funny. It's kind of funny.
The writers know what they're doing.
Yeah, I feel like that's something like a drunk guy would do too.
Probably.
Like, just like mess with some kid.
I have to ask, like, did he paint his motorcycle? Because it's like cop colors too. It's like all white and has blue stripes and stuff.
Maybe
like,
he was just very committed.
I guess so. But we should say this, all of the adults in this movie are so incredibly horny. It's wild.
They are. Every single one of them. Whenever they see Sarah, they're like so weird. And they're all like even at the ball at the beginning, they're like, whenever they're like, oh, virgin, they're all just so weird.
In like both of these intercutting like sections, like, oh, the bus driver, he want to do with the witches. He's very flirty. You have the virgin scene with the cop, and then it's like the guy dressed as the devil.
I hate that guy. That part always made me uncomfortable as a kid.
The old man who hangs out with the witches because they think he's Satan.
I think he's actually Satan. He's like, come to my house. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, what's he going to do? Murder them? What's going on here? Why is he just having them come? And then he's got a wife there. And she's like, oh, you get these hot ladies out of here. And it's like, what is going on in this scene? Like, that's the one scene that I'm just like, I've never liked that scene. I'm like, what is happening?
It drags on a little bit. She's like, Master, would you dance with me? And then it's just like cut to like slow dancing and this old man in his like weird long john underwear.
Dressed as Satan. And then they're like, you're not Satan. It's like, no.
I like that. I like that part though, where she's like, get out of my house. And they're like, make us. And she sticks their little Yorkie after them.
Yes. So cute. Oh, I read a fun fact about that Yorkie. Hold on. I have it pulled up still.
Tell me this thing.
That is actually Kathy's dog in real life.
Oh, okay. Aw.
Yeah. So it's really cute. I like that.
And so for the most part, like the witches are just very confused for like part of it. They're like, oh, what is a bus? What is I can Kathy Najimy's character, Mary, she's got like a bloodhound thing about her. She's like constantly sniffing for the kids.
She smells kids.
And making like barking noises.
Well, there's that one, like the kids are mean to them. Like they try to just like lure the kids, and then the kids just like there's that kid that like stomps on her foot or something, and she's like, these kids are evil. She's like, these are horrible children.
And so they're like, I can smell children, but I don't see any. And then they find out that Halloween has become like not this pagan thing, but it's just like a fun thing where kids dress up. And so they're a little perturbed.
There's the party scene.
Yeah. Honestly, watching this movie, the whole second act, I'm like just waiting for that party scene and the big musical number. So they show up at the town hall party where all of the adults are. You don't like see any alcohol or anything, but like, you know.
They're drunk.
They're dancing, they're having a good time. Mom's dressed as Madonna, which
pointy booties.
Yeah, which like I never registered that is the same person at the beginning because she shows up when Max gets home at the beginning of the movie, and then she looks completely different in the Madonna costume. So I'm like, you go, Mom. Good for her. And Max tries to warn all of the adults, like, your kids are in danger. The Sanderson sisters are here. And by then, the sisters have arrived. And they're like, oh, yes, we are here. But all the adults think it's a big act and a joke.
And then they put a spell on them.
Hello, sailors! My name's Winifred! What's yours? I put a spell on you! And now you're gone!
Which has, because this movie has gotten so popular, I think has been incorporated in like Disney World or Disneyland's big Halloween events.
Yeah, they do the not so scary party. They have like a big performance. It started a few years ago. Like they really realized, Disney as a company realized what a cult classic it was, and they're like, we can profit off this, and they do every year. More and more merch. Starbucks right now, like at select places, has 3 Sanderson Sisters Frappuccinos.
Huh. So I do have here in my notes, why are the adults all so horny? What was the reason?
They really, really are.
They were so gung-ho about this has gotta be for kids. We gotta make it kid friendly. And then just all of the adults are just like, nah. And so from the musical performance, all of the adults are like cursed to dance until they die. And so for the rest of the movie, they are all just kind of trapped in town hall, dancing. There's a very fun scene at the end, like a post-credit where they get out and they're just like...
I thought LA was a party town.
Yeah. Wow.
Just completely unaware of the fact that they had been bewitched.
Yeah, they weren't able to leave.
Mm-hmm. So after that, the kids... Allison finally comes up with a way to... She thinks, get rid of the witches once and for all, because they're hiding in an alleyway that has a broken oven and also a lobster tank. It's just a weird location.
Yeah, what is going on in Salem? Like, what is that?
I don't
What
know.
are they-
The layout of this town is just absolute.
It's very strange.
It is nutty. And so they lead the witches to the high school, which I looked it up because I was very curious if the name of the high school meant anything. It does not.
Ah.
Because I was like, oh, is that a reference to something? Because usually with like horror stuff, it's like, oh, it's a writer or a poet or...
Yeah.
Nope, it's just a name.
Well,
The
that's
real
fair.
building was like an elementary school or something.
That's fair.
So this part is kind of fun. Like, I think they're leading him through I like their, what is it? Their witch, like, little walk thing
Their
they do
walk together, yes, it's so good. They have to like prepare it, and then it's like choreographed walk. It's so good.
They're like serpentining down the hallway. It's very fun. They have a lot of like little quirks like that. I like their what was it? Their calming circle.
Yes, yeah. Everything they do is so fun.
It
They're
is.
just fun. Like, I know they're the bad guys, but they're very fun.
Like, you can't hate them.
No,
It's impossible.
they're the best part, I think.
Yes.
For sure.
And so they are lured to, I guess, a ceramics classroom. And they lock them in a giant, like, industrial oven and just set these witches ablaze. These kids are so dang excited to burn these women alive.
They're like, woohoo, we're melting people. It's so fun. They're not traumatized at all. I would be like, those are like, I know they're trying to kill me, but also I would have like some hesitation to set 3 human people on fire and then just walk away. Like, I'd be like, maybe. You know, but they are like trying to kill them and they got magic powers, so
yeah. Fair, I guess. But it doesn't work because, like, of course not. I have here, like, Danny is ruthless because I think she's just, like, cackling the entire time.
Yeah.
I love Danny so much.
But then Binks is like, oh, I'm still a cat.
Yeah. He's like, I'm still a cat. I guess I'll hang with y'all. You're cool. Which they have
Cool.
It's very sweet because he's like...
He's really close to Danny, and it's cute. Because they're both just sassy the whole time. It's great.
They're both dunking on Max.
Yeah.
You're my kitty now. You'll have milk and tuna fish every day, and you'll only hunt mice for fun.
You're going to turn me into one of those fat, useless, contented house cats.
You betcha. You know, Binks, I'll always take care of you. My children will take care of you, too. And their children after that. And theirs after that.
They are fully prepared for this cat to live forever. Which I guess, like...
That sucks.
I think that would have been my first hint if I was Thackeray, that like, hey, maybe the burning didn't work.
Yeah. Like, why didn't he notice? Like, he was like, wait, I'm still a cat.
Oh, this is weird, too. Because they all go back to their house, and then they, like, fall asleep or something and wake up at 3 or 5 a.m. Something ridiculous.
Yeah, and at this point, Max and Allison are like, oh, we're cuddling.
Like, they wake up, and he's like, hey. And like, like,
I was drinking water when you did that.
I'm sorry.
It's just funny.
But whatever, they like each other, and it's fine, I guess. They very
She can do
PG
so much
cuddled under the
better.
blanket.
She can do so much. But I think Danny says something at some point that's like, you can do better than my brother or something like that. Like, I'm pretty sure there's a line in there where she says something like that.
I would believe that.
Maybe not those exact words, but just kind of like, okay, whatever.
And so they wake up, and Allison sees them, and they start talking about Thackeray. And they're like, oh, I wish I could help him. And Allison is like, oh, why don't we open the book and see if we can find a way to, like, break the spell? And Max is like, oh, he said nothing good comes from that book. Which, like, if we're going based on the logic that we already received, like, Allison's mom worked at the museum. She knows the story. She probably knows a lot about the history in general. Like, why would she think... I don't know. That's like the most frustrating thing to me, I think, about the third act. It's just like, why does she do this? They do learn that salt is the only thing that can prevent a witch from, like, getting to you. or it dispels magic or something like that. And so they go downstairs, they open the book because the witches at this point are like, they go back home and they are fully prepared. Like,
This is the end. No. I feel it. Okay. We are doomed. I feel the icy breath of death upon my neck. Mary, take me to the window. I wish to say goodbye.
They're just like moping and they're like so sad. They're like, we're done. We're dead.
what a cruel world.
Yeah.
A cruel world.
Yeah.
Will you bring me to the window? Yes, I will.
It's so funny. I love that scene.
It's fantastic. The whole time Bette Midler is spitting out these like she had a dictionary full of like old-timey insults and stuff and curse words.
Nice.
So like some of it was improv and some of it was just based off of that. But of course Allison and Max open the book and it activates like a signal beam or something and gives away their position. So the witches haul after them.
Yeah, they're like, book.
Book, it is time. And they kidnap Danny. I do like the part in the house where like Allison has the giant thing of salt and she doesn't like sprinkle it around her in a circle. She's like swinging that thing.
Yeah,
all
she's just using it like a weapon.
She's doing like a figure 8 with like the salt. Like, I don't know if you managed to get a full circle there, but okay.
Nope. She's just sprinkling it everywhere. Just a salt room.
And so Danny and Binks are captured. They have the book. They have everything that they need to make their potion to make them young and beautiful forever. They are intentionally going after Danny at this point, mostly out of spite.
Yeah, just because they fucked with them so much.
Yeah.
And because she's right there with the book, so it's easy.
Yes. So they grab her and bring her back to the museum/witch's hut, and they start getting the potion ready, and Sarah flies over the town singing her like siren song that lures all the children out.
Come, little children, I'll take thee away into a land of enchantment.
And so all these children who are still in costume at like 5 a.m. just walking down the street towards the sisters. I think because of the salt rain, like Max and Allison are fine.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they actually like can't get past the salt or whatever for whatever reason.
So they go and once again are able to trick the witches and rescue Danny.
Yeah, they use like headlights.
Yeah, they're
like, oh, it's daytime already, and they're like, oh no.
It's like, I know something you don't. Daylight savings time. And then flashes lights. The second time that trick has worked on them because he did the fire rain.
It's because they're so old, they don't understand. They're like, what? Oh no. At this point, they should have just believed that Danny was a witch. She could just like turn on a TV and be like, ta-da! They'd be like, oh my god, it's a witch. But this is when they go to the cemetery.
Yes, they rescue Danny and they're running back to the cemetery because, again, it is sacred, hallowed ground and they should be safe, presumably. They run into Billy one more time, who Max pulls a knife out from somewhere. I don't know where he gets this knife, but Billy grabs it from him and you're like, oh, Max is gonna get it. Oh,
Billy's gonna stab him.
But secretly, yes.
Yeah.
No more Max. No more Max. But Billy cuts the stitches from his mouth and a real-life moth flies out from Doug Jones's mouth.
Oh, it's real?
It's real.
I know that the spider that Sarah eats at some point was also real, and she actually ate it.
Huh.
So, lots of bugs in mouths for this movie.
So those were not CG. So, again, with the practical...
Yeah, I guess just put some bugs in your mouth.
And so Billy is on their side, I think, throughout the thing, maybe, because he just hates Winnie so much. So I don't know if he's like secretly on their side the entire time or if he's just like reluctantly doing it because of Sarah.
Yeah.
And then he's like, nah, not worth it. And so he's on their side and he's like, oh, we'll protect Danny. Because Mary and Sarah point out like, hey, we have all these kids. Like, we could do the thing and like be fine. We can make more potion. They have enough for like one kid right now. But Winifred is so pissed, like, because Danny calls her ugly.
I mean,
She's
rightly
like, no.
so. She's like, I'm done with this little girl. She has brought me back from the dead and then just tormented me the whole time.
So like they have a vendetta now. Like they are gonna get Danny or they're gonna get no one, essentially.
Yeah.
I do have here hubris is the only real way to kill a witch. And so of course like they are fighting off the witches with like a baseball bat. There's like a mini training montage right before.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but
They put Danny in Billy's tomb with like a ring of salt around her. And then they start like fighting the witches who are just kind of floating back and forth.
yeah, they're just flying around like, I'm gonna get you.
Yeah. Where is Mary throughout this whole thing? 'Cause she doesn't show up until like the very end. She's just chilling.
She's on a vacuum cleaner, right?
I think so.
Because she can't find a broom, so she's like flying on the vacuum cleaner they had there. So she's always like lagging behind.
Okay, maybe that was it.
Yeah.
Because like Winifred is like battling with Max essentially in his baseball bat, and he takes a couple swings and misses before she grabs it. Sarah is like fighting Allison and Binks. And I was just like, where is Mary?
Mary's just kind of like flying around on her vacuum cleaner.
They knock off Billy's head again, and that's funny. That's always
That is funny. It's funny.
And so Danny crawls out of the not tomb.
The hole in the ground.
Yeah, she crawls out and like returns his head, and like that is the moment where they're like, grab her, and they grab her.
Yep.
And they manage to knock the potion of youth stealing or whatever from Winifred. And so Max is holding it, and they're at a bit of a standoff, and he's like, if you hurt her, I'll drop the potion. And she's like, if you break the potion, I'll kill her. And so Max does the first cool thing he's done this entire movie.
Yep.
And he drinks the potion.
The only nice thing he does.
But
it's a really nice. I mean, it's like, I'm gonna die for my sister. So I guess it kind of like gets rid of all the teen angst. Like, okay, I guess I forgive your teen angst.
Right. Which, like, I was kind of like, maybe there is a limit on the age that it works on, because it looks like when they did it at the beginning, right, they had Thackeray's little sister Emily, and when they drain her soul, she turns into like a little old woman. So I guess like it's proportional, maybe.
Yeah.
So like you pick younger, you get more years, and then you also have to split that between 3. Max might not be like the best, but it's better than
It'll
nothing.
last them till the next Halloween, and they can like just get some children or whatever.
She tries to suck out Max's soul, and for some reason it seems like it's taken a bit. I don't know if it's just because he's fighting or what.
The magic is like, I don't know.
Dramatic.
They needed to buy some time, probably, movie-wise.
And so, like, she's trying to drain his soul, and Allison and Thackeray are trying to fight the other witches, and then, like, the sun comes up, because they only have until sunrise to do this thing.
Yep.
And they, like, slingshot Sarah and Mary into the sky, and they explode in, like, fireworks. Just kind of silly, but I'm for it. Winifred turns into like this cool statue as she's holding Max.
Because she's on the hallowed ground or whatever.
Maybe that was it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's because she's on hallowed ground.
And so she turns to stone before she also explodes. So I think if they wanted to make it more open-ended, they could have left her as a statue in the middle of the cemetery. I think that would have been kind of cool, because then you have like a new addition to the myth that everybody knows. And so the witches are dead, and everybody is happy and safe. Thackeray does die.
Aw, yeah. But it's good for him. He did not want to be a cat for all eternity. He was done.
And so we get to see Mr. NCIS as a ghost pop up again with not his voice. And he's reunited with his sister, who's like...
sweet.
It's very sweet. And then, of course, like, we have to close it. She's like, what took you so long, Thackeray? And he's like, I had to wait for a virgin to light a candle. And then it's like, and that's it.
They ruined the sweet moment by being like, let's make fun of Max again.
This is the perfect ending.
It's good. And then the end credits scene where they're all leaving the party is cool.
Mm-hmm. And then the book is alive still. So, like, I guess that is the biggest clue that, like,
yeah.
something could happen.
Yeah.
I really like this movie.
Me 2. What was the question you were going to ask me? I
was gonna say, what is your favorite like interaction between the Sanderson sisters and the modern world? It could either be like the Black River, which is the road, the bus, the TV, like any of that stuff.
I think it's the bus. They're so and the Black River is good too, because they like won't step on it, and it's really good. I just like every interaction with the real world. It's so funny.
God, that part with the bus driver though, where he's like, "What are you looking for?" or "What do you need?" and they're like, "We want children." And he's like, "It may take me a couple of tries, but I think I can help you out there." Why?
Yeah, I don't. I guess he was like, they're being weird, so I'll be weird back.
I guess so.
Because he probably didn't assume like, oh, they want to kidnap children. He's just like, oh, okay, I guess these are just some drunk, horny ladies dressed as a witch.
I guess so. But I mean, yeah, this movie it's fun and it's pretty quick. Like, there are some parts that like kind of drag. Just I think because of like what we had mentioned with the executive interference and stuff, but even those are like pretty enjoyable for the most part.
Yeah. I'm reading more about the sequel now. Originally it was going to be a reboot, but then people were like, no.
I would kind of like to see like an animated series.
That would be awesome. Kind of like Beetlejuice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that'll do it for us for Hocus Pocus, unless you had like any final thoughts.
No, just it's a really fun movie. If you haven't seen it before, I don't know why you're listening to this because we spoiled everything, but if you haven't seen it before, watch it. It's very fun. It's just good, like even just like for like a background Halloween movie. It's just very fun. The party scene makes any like weird stuff worth it. Yeah. Because it's just so catchy.
We can go ahead and say, I kind of want to like tease our next episode because I think it'll be probably one of, if not both of our favorites.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. It might be long. I will warn, it might be long because you will not be able to get me to stop talking.
But that one would also go out on Halloween, I believe.
Yes.
So
just gremlin noises at this point. I'm gonna do extra research, but I have like, I guess my teaser is that I already own so much stuff from what we're going to be talking about. Like I've got so much backstory from the art book, and like just like I've got so much stuff. I'm so excited.
So do we want to say?
Yeah, let's see. Okay.
So for Halloween, our kind of bonus episode this month, we're going to be doing Over the Garden Wall. And it'll be so much fun. We'll probably have at least like 1 or 2 watch parties on our respective Discords. So that's a good time to plug that if you want to come hang out with us and watch Over the Garden Wall, because it's a very good mini-series.
Yes, I watch it like once a month, probably. Maybe more. And we do like a Discord watching of it pretty much every Halloween season since I've had a Discord. So it's really fun. It's so good. Tim Curry's in it. I'll never shut up about Tim Curry either. So
that'll be something to look forward to. Until then, thanks for listening. You should follow us on all of our accounts that are in descriptions and places.
Yeah, give us a follow.
Yeah.
Say hello sometime.
Yeah, we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah.
All right, bye.
Bye.
You have been listening to Monster Masquerade. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to let us know somewhere on the internet and consider sharing the show with a friend. If you have a suggestion or topic you'd like to see us discuss, hop on over to our Patreon to unlock exclusive bonus content and do just that. And we'd super appreciate it if you could leave us a review on iTunes. It's the fastest way to help the show grow. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you find podcasts.